Hi, and welcome to the Voice Actors Roundtable with Unbrandable Media. I am your host, Ryan Omega, and I'd like to introduce today's panel. So let's start off with Veronica Taylor. So let's have you say your name, say some of the projects our audience might know you for, and for our session today, tell us your favorite childhood character voice growing up. So that can be a cartoon, a Muppet, a jingle, anime. I leave that up to you.
Wow, that's a wide choice there. I'm Veronica Taylor. I am an actor. I'm probably best known for roles that I have been voice acting in. I played Ash in the first 8 seasons of Pokemon, along with May and his mom. April in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, 2003 to 2007. I work on a lot of cartoons, anime, video games. I do a lot of audiobooks. I don't know. I guess that's it. You know, you can look it up. We have many more things to talk about that are more important. But I would say I loved watching Saturday morning cartoons when I was growing up. I loved, anything on. But I loved Speed Racer and, of course, Scooby-Doo. And I don't know, there's a million things, but I also went to a lot of Shakespeare plays, and my parents are actors, so I grew up going to theater a lot and seeing a lot of Shakespeare. So I think I think those are and then working on plays in school and everything. So that's my biggest influence. You like how I say, let's talk about other things, then I just go on and on. Anyway.
Listen, I was about to go, oh my God, you were Ash. Ah! So, So next, we'll go over to Daniel Ross.
Well, hello, everybody. It's so exciting to be here. Thank you for having me. What do I say about me? Let's see. I like long walks on the beach. Somebody had to say it. I'm originally from Maryland. I came to Los Angeles in 2014 to pursue voiceover. I've been an onstage actor, on camera, film producer, all that wonderful stuff. And I just kind of found my way into voiceover. What would people know me as? You might know me as one of the voices of Donald Duck. I've been the voice of Lucky the Leprechaun, Starscream from Transformers, and most recently, like Uncle Shagworthy at your service from Multiverses, which just came out, I believe, a couple days ago.
Wow.
Yeah, what else can I say? Growing up, my favorite voice to do was Donald Duck because my mom taught me how to do it. Oh, boy. And watching Saturday morning cartoons, Transformers was a huge influence on me. I've even got like Cybertronian ink on me and a man cave full of Transformers that you all can't see conveniently because I'd like to date eventually.
Wow.
I can't get over the fact that you just slipped in and out of that voice so quickly.
Oh, thank you. Awesome. Yes, it's an acquired talent.
Tara Haight.
Hi, yes, I'm Tara Haight. Let me see what you might know me from. I voiced a couple characters in Veronica Season 1 and also a couple characters in Visionaries Season 1. Favorite voice character? Oh my God, I don't know. There are so many. Like all of them, because everyone who does it is amazing. I can't get enough. I don't know. I don't know. All of them.
All right. No problem. Eventually you will choose a favorite, like a favorite child, and you will tell us when that happens.
Fair. Okay.
All right. Next, we go to Mike Mathewson.
Hello. This is going to be a very short list of things that you know me from because I've been in Veronica Season 1, and that's it. I played Calvin and the Unquiet Spirits, which were both very, very fun parts. But I kind of got into voice acting in college after an injury kind of stopped me from doing my dance degree. So they put me behind a microphone for a semester. and I started running my D&D podcast, Dicey Decisions. Go check it out. You can find it on all the places where things are voices and such, therefore, such as Ergo.
Nice plug. Good.
Nice.
What a great
Love
title.
it.
Yeah. Favorite voice growing up. It was I'm 26. Growing up was not that long ago. Anything that Patrick Warburton has ever voiced. Just
Ooh.
Plantation.
God, better. Oh God. Love it.
That's amazing. I'm a big fan of the Tick, the original cartoon Tick.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Pre Patrick Warburton. But Side note.
Nice.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Next, we'll go over to Mackenzie Jameson.
Hi. So yeah, if you found your way here, it's probably from all of Unbrandable's media stuff, and that's where I provided a lot of the like filler voices, a lot of them for like from cops and various characters that would be in the background, filling in, crowds and reactions, lots of range of characters for season 1 of Veronica, and then I am now doing one of the characters in Living Fears, so that's gonna be fun. So yeah, otherwise, favorite character, that would have to be one that I started realizing that I could do voices was, of course, Betty Boop when I was really little, and I would do, I want to be loved by you, just you, and nobody else will do. Oh, I want to be loved by you alone. Boop, boop, bidoo. And that actually got me a role as Adelaide.
Wow.
So,
Perfect.
and then I kind of translated that into really, Harley Quinn, the Batman and Robin adventures from the 90s, Mr. J on the babies. So that's kind of where I started all of the crazy characters and voices.
All right.
So great.
And rounding out the panel, Erin McGavic.
Let's see. My name is Erin McGavic, and you may know me from a very niche market because I did a knitting podcast for 4 years called Fuck This Knit.
Hey, that's why you're familiar.
So I was a co-host on there for 4 years. And as far as voice acting, I have been in Veronica season 1, where I am Kelly, young Cassie, and a bunch of different people in the background. And I would have to say, like, my favorite character growing up was always Shaggy from Scooby-Doo, because I could never wrap my brain around the fact that it was Casey Kasem.
Oh, that's right.
Ever.
That's right.
And I loved it.
Okay, so this is meant to be a casual conversation rather than a formal congressional panel. So if you feel like asking questions of your fellow panelists, please do so. So let's start off with the basic question. Your superhero origin story. How did you get into voice acting? We heard a little bit from Mike, but I want to have you expand on that.
Okay. Geez, it's a really strange just hopping around between things story. So I was in college for engineering first, and then I failed calculus 2-3 times, and I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'll quit and be a stripper. So I went into a dance degree, and that was going great. And then I had to get an abdominal surgery. Couldn't avoid it, and that put me out for 6 months. So I had to take some other credits. So I took some acting classes because the theater and dance program were kind of meshed together anyway. And we started doing voice acting. And I didn't quite realize how much it mattered to me that being able to tell a story was just so important to people. And the voices that tell those stories are just as important. And I didn't mean to wax poetic there for a moment, but yeah, it just kind of I started looking into ways to kind of put myself out there, and I did a lot of like voices.com and other just like kind of just burst, just the pay to play kind of putting your voice out there stuff, until a friend of mine sent me a little Facebook link where it was like, hey, this group's looking for voices, and I sent my demo in, and then Dennis from Unbrandable was just like, hey, I want you to be a racist real quick, and I was like, okay.
But we'll pay you.
I like
so it's
playing.
okay.
It's like, sure.
We'll pay you to be a
Also,
racist.
be dead.
Right.
No, yeah, I love playing villains. So, like, just the second he described the Calvin's character to me, I was like, I'm in. Yes, do it.
Nice.
So, yeah,
Next,
it's
Tara.
kind of the spark notes.
Tara, what was your origin story?
Let's see. I mean, well, I started out singing and then acting from a young age. And in terms of voice acting, I don't know. I've unintentionally, I guess, started just in groups of friends or family, and every story or anecdote that would be told, I was basically becoming that person. So it's very fun to work with me at some corporate job because y'all will get your own impression, for better or worse. Yeah. So actually, while I was actually managing a spa, and I landed my first acting agent who had sent me on a bunch of like commercial auditions. So I was, in my closet, behind my pants rack, under all my clothes, into my phone with a microphone attached, because I wasn't doing voiceover. I was there for acting. So there was that. And then it just sort of, I don't know. I guess it kind of got like right back into the impressions, and then the pandemic hit. And I was like, well, I mean, what the hell? I'll take a whole bunch of voiceover classes. Thanks, Paula Birdie. He's amazing if you are looking for some. And got a different closet, all set up with like soundproofing and stuff. And I happened to meet Pam at an indie film collective of New York City, meet and greet. And she's like, hey, do you do voices? Because you have to be my friend. And I was like, okay, cool. And like, I don't know, probably a year later, they were like, so no, now we're serious. We're going to do this. Do you want to audition? I was like, hell yeah, let's do this. So that's where Veronica came in. And another with Visionaries, it was kind of a similar thing. Like, I happened to know somebody, and I was on Actors Access. I was like, I know that name. Sent in stuff for Visionaries, and yeah, it was super fun. I played Lexi of the First Blood, and that's the role I got cast in. And after, like, same day session, after recording Lexi, they were like, hey, do you want to do another voice? I mean, you don't even have to change your voice, but another character. And I was like, oh, I'm changing my voice. And yes, I do. Let's do this. So I went from just my speaking voice, like, yes, well, after. And then I became Fariz, a First Blood guard. Yeah, so that's my superhero origin story. Onward.
Nice. All right, I'm going to go to Daniel. Daniel, how did you get into voice acting?
Oh boy, I stumbled into it pretty hard. Like I mentioned before, I've always been in the performing arts, from theater to Shakespeare to film and TV. It's just a medium that I love, and I love to be creative. But I as a younger person, I didn't get cast in the roles that I wanted to, because I kind of have a quirky voice. So I wasn't getting the leading man roles. I was getting the weird, like, neighbor or the best friend or like the creepy guy. I don't know why I do that so well. And so I don't know. It was just eventually, through my love of Transformers, actually, I would go to different conventions and I would meet some of the voice actors who had participated in some of my favorite shows, and getting to know them, it was so strange. It was like the moment in Into the Spider-Verse where he meets his other self and he's like, you're like me. I found my tribe. I found people that are like me. And it was such an amazing moment of discovery, because from that moment on, I just said, I need to pursue voiceover. I want to do voiceover. I want to be like these people who I admire so much. And from there, it was just a downhill spiral. But no, I did what I did back in Maryland. I had a film production company. I had created a trilogy of schlocky independent horror comedies called Ninjas versus Zombies, Ninjas versus Vampires, Ninjas versus Monsters. If you're wondering who won, the ninjas, because they're in all three. And yeah, just started pursuing voiceover full time. Worked in retail for probably 15 years of my life. I was a store manager at Blockbuster. I worked in Target for many years. And yeah, so this has been a big career change, doing silly voices for a living. I love it. There's nothing else I'd rather do. It really is. And now I'm in a position to actually coach other people and run workshops and things. And I just think that's so cool. So yeah, for anybody who's curious, I offer one-on-one coaching through my website, actordanielross.com. And I have a TikTok that y'all should follow, because I got cut off earlier and I couldn't talk about myself anymore.
I will pick your talkies.
Yes, thank you. Check out my Tiki-Talkies at Actor Daniel Ross.
Tickety talkety. Got it.
Tickety
That's how TikTok puts me to bed every night. Shut up.
It tries to put me to bed, but then it ends up keeping me up way later than I needed to.
Yeah. Shh. We don't talk about that part.
Yes, but Mackenzie, now that you started talking,
10.
I guess it's your turn to talk about your superhero origin story. How'd you get into voice acting?
17 again and all that stuff.
Oh yeah. I mean, like when it first started, I was 5 years old doing musical theater. I was a theater brat, and doing also review shows as a kiddo, and I even then tried to find another freaking career in journalism. You know, went to University of Oregon, go Ducks, and I still ended up doing theater there, and realizing I don't want to be a journalist. I want to fucking act. So I went to Hollywood. And still, you know, that's rough and tumble, and you don't get a whole, I mean, there's a ton of opportunity there. But the door is like, to get in the door, it's this big. And I ended up running into, well, backtrack. Voiceover wasn't my focus then. It was, you know, film, like you do down there. And but I was trying to get voiceover gigs here and there, commercials and stuff like that. But I did love playing all these characters and doing character voices, and fast forward many years later, but yet having a friendship with Ryan Omega, and Ryan put the search out for Dennis for some work. Yay. And I got back in touch with Dennis, who I had actually auditioned for a film of theirs way back. So by the way, actors, you know, you'll meet somebody like forever ago, and they'll remember you sometimes, you know, if I guess you did a good job or something. And apparently they didn't know I was still acting. And I'm like, yes, I am. Please hire me. Thank you. And yeah. And now I'm that's what I do want to do up here in Portland. That's where I am. I relocated because my wife got a great opportunity, and I was done with the rat race, but I still would love to do indie films and voiceover. So here we are.
I just want to chime in there for a second and double up your Go Ducks!
Yes! Are you done?
Oh my god.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow, the world is so small. Speaking
We're
about
obnoxious at football games. Duck fans, we're obnoxious.
Speaking of small world, Mackenzie, Dennis, and I also all share a hobby in common, and that is how we all eventually met. Well, at least separately. We all LARP.
Oh wow.
Oh no.
Larp kept me acting when I
You're not
didn't
the
get to
only
act,
ones that know
basically.
Dennis through LARPing.
You
Wow.
also know Dennis through LARPing?
My first character with Dennis was Veronica.
Wow.
What?
What?
I have her character sheet somewhere. She's like 600 points of just ungodly by the time we stopped LARPing.
Oh
But
my
yeah.
God.
So I happen to know things about the plot.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Because some of her
No
really dumb
spoiler.
decisions, yeah, those were mine.
That's
Wow.
That's
But
really
what
cool.
happens in the season finale?
Stuff.
Stuff and things.
Hey, I'm just trying
Yeah.
to advocate for the viewers who are excited about what's coming next on Veronica's.
And they should be. Because I can say that not all of this, because most of this comes from Dennis's head, but a lot of it does come from back when we were LARPing. And I have a notoriously bad chop hand. So some of the decisions were literally down to I can't throw for shit. And that would take the plot in a whole different direction.
And for the
Wow.
audience who are not familiar, chop hand would be throwing rock, paper, scissors.
Oh, that
Yeah,
I
no,
didn't
Dennis
know.
and I go toe to toe, and he wins like 9 times out of 10. But after I
Yeah.
bought luck because I somehow kept staying alive, that saved my ass so many times. It's not even funny.
Wow.
I'm just
I'm-
imagining you all running around going, lightning bolt!
Lightning bolt!
Sleep!
Well, and it was funny because after I got to like such a big, huge point build, I just started buying like random shit because I had all of these experience points to blow. So I ended up like starting off every game. I'm like, I'd like to spend a blood and a will as I check in. Thank you. Because I would grow like the claw hands that you could get. I would just automatically put those out so they were out and then obfuscate like I was just normal. So if we ever went into combat, I was already prepared.
Wow.
Oh, Erin, so let's have you talk about your origin story.
Okay, but do I have to be a superhero or can I get to grow up to be a villain?
You can also be a
Ooh.
villain. Hero and villain are a matter of perspective.
Because I'm in the middle of my origin story. So I know my first voice acting gig, like I said, is actually through Veronica, through Unbrandable Media. And I've known Dennis since I was 16, and I think he was 18.
Wow.
So, 5,
Puppies.
6 years.
Yeah. Not so long, but it feels like forever.
Yeah, that's coming up on 20-something years. But so I've known him for forever, and he called to tell me about the project because Veronica's a subject very dear to my heart, obviously. And I was like, well, hey, do you have any roles left? And he's like, I'm not in charge of this. And I'm like, I didn't say you were. I said, I'm going to audition. Yeah. So I am now a 20-year-old prostitute.
Hell yeah.
Woo!
Yes.
And then the person
Yes.
behind the counter said, yes, ma'am, it's a bakery. We have lots of rolls.
And so I was given one out of pity, but only at the bakery. No, so yeah, and so I got to play young Kathy as well because it turns out I can sob like a small child very well, and this is hopefully the part of my origin story where, I get to be all cool and badass, and people hire me for more stuff, and yeah.
All right. To go from
Awesome.
one Veronica to Veronica Taylor.
Right. And I
Veronica-
play Lucy in the Unbrandable Media.
And
production
Lucy
of
was
Veronica.
always one of my favorites, just so you
Yeah.
know.
The whole project is so cool, and how it just kind of, I don't know. You really have to watch or / listen to the whole thing and kind of go get in for the ride, as it were.
So,
My
yeah.
origin story.
Mhm.
I started acting when I was 5 in a school play, and I continued acting, and I went to college and grad school. I have a BA in acting and an MFA. In between that, I toured the United States for 2 years with an acting company that we did contemporary and Shakespeare. And then I went to grad school and I finished there, and I went on another tour for children's theater for TheaterWorks out of New York, TheaterWorks USA. When I was in grad school, I got to audition for and was cast in a reading with WGBH called Some Americans Abroad. That was with Julie Harris and Wallace Shawn and Claire Bloom. It was one of the most amazing experiences of my life. Even though it was so small, we did a live radio drama of that, a live reading. So that was probably my first voiceover gig. My second was I was cast in the Batman stunt show at Six Flags Great Adventure in New Jersey. And so I was Spice and Chase Meridian. So they also needed someone to do the voiceover that would go around to all the parks, and I happened to get cast as that. So officially, that was my first paid voiceover gig. And then I just auditioned for things in New York. I happened to get an audition for an anime after working with my acting coach. I was working on a monologue for some audition, and it just happened that he got a call from someone else that he coaches or coached saying, do you know any ladies who do high girl voices? So he called me. I got cast in that. That was with Central Park Media. And then they asked me to audition for something else. And, you know, like with most things, it kind of, your network just kind of spirals out from there. And then a lot of the work that I've gotten is on my own through people I know. And then I finally got an agent in New York. I've moved to LA also in 2014. And I have an agent here too. So I feel like it's a real, my move here, it felt like I was totally starting over in terms of, I may have worked for a million years as an actor, but when you get to a new place, you have to really start from scratch again. I didn't expect it to be that way, but you just kind of, you know, I would say you claw your way through, but you don't really. You just make friends and try to network in a sense. So I guess that's it.
Were you using Erin's claws?
Yeah, those I did that, but and the chop, but I've got no luck, so no chop. So,
No.
yeah,
That luck is really good.
yeah, but I got no money, man. No, I'm just kidding. I would like the luck though. If we could all maybe buy some today, that could be good.
Well, you
Gotta
happen to
spend
have
your
Lucky the
XP.
Leprechaun here.
Oh, you know.
They're
Great.
magically delicious.
Oh, that's right. A bowl, just a bowl of cereal.
That's right, I'm lucky.
Sorry.
Who wants to rub my belly?
Oh my God. Hey,
Come
Matt.
on, I'll rub my own belly. Yeah,
Oh.
look for me.
Get the charms away from him.
Don't touch his
Oh,
Lucky
my
Charms.
sugar!
That's the price you pay.
So,
Oh my God.
you know, a lot of people will definitely look at people who act, especially voice act, and think, my God, that's amazing, that's cool. But what's a big misconception about what you do in voice acting, whether it's from other people you know or your friends and family? What do they assume that you do in voice acting, which is totally different from your expectations?
I would say a lot of people assume you make a ton of money, and I would say that's not true. But a lot of people have that assumption and think certain things about you, which is not necessarily true. And also, it takes a long time. An audiobook, for instance, gosh, you're sitting in the booth, like in your closet, for hours and hours, and it's really hard work. It's amazingly great, but it's grueling.
Piggybacking off of that, just auditioning for those audiobooks, how much work it takes to just put out the audition that they're asking for, because you record it, you edit it yourself, and you send it out.
I used to not know how to edit at all, so I had to do all of my auditions in one take. And I've recently learned how to edit a little, so I can punch in.
I think the one misconception that I hear very often, especially from fans of voice actors, is it easy to do voices? And the answer is no. This job isn't about doing voices. This job is about acting and creating full-blooded characters that are completely alive, have different facets of themselves, different emotions, different sounds, so many different things that are layered into just speaking in front of a microphone. In fact, one of the ways that I describe voice acting to people who know a little bit about performance is I kind of say theater is like getting your bachelor's. You know, you learn to work within the proscenium and to speak to the people in the back of the audience, and everything is big and over exaggerated. Then you go to film And that's like getting your master's. You have to take all that away. You have to be inside yourself, figure out what to do with your hands. You know, you can talk with your hands, you can talk with your facial expressions, and then we go and we get our doctorate in voiceover, and we take all that away. All you have is your voice. So when I'm coaching people and we talk about, you know, doing a voice and reading a script, I often discuss the environment that you're around, because that adds so many different layers. As an example, if you are a teacher writing on a chalkboard, when you write on a chalkboard, does it sound like this? Hey, everybody, my name is Mr. Gonzalez. No, it doesn't sound like that. It sounds like, hello, class, my name is Mr. Gonzalez. So you don't speak in the same cadence and rhythm as you would just reading a script. So as a voice actor, we have to know how to incorporate all those different layers to bring that moment to life with just our voice. And it is so much more complicated than just doing silly voices. We all love doing that, but it's so much more.
It does take an imagination. That's definitely agreed. It's like you're playing out the whole scene in your head. You have no other actor to actually act with. I do the last recording session. I had Dennis actually with me, and that was like, oh, that was awesome. Actually having somebody read lines back to me, actually having video to something. But sometimes I even had to just look away so that I could see everything going on in my head, so that I could actually, be in the scene. You know?
Yeah.
And then you got to make choices, because sometimes it's not laid out for you.
Yep.
You just have to decide, this is what I'm doing.
Right. In a split second, you don't have a lot of time to prepare usually. And you have to really just make commitments to it, all of that.
I wanted to hear from Mike and Tara to see if they had any insight.
Well, so I actually, like Daniel mentioned earlier, I also work retail currently. I am a store manager, and so every time I'll just be onboarding someone, and I'll mention I do the voice acting thing, and it'll be 9 times out of 10 like, oh, so can you do this character? It's like, no, I can't. Only one person can do that character.
Yeah, that's the process. What would I know you from? Oh, I don't know you from anything. Well, what voices can you do? Oh, nothing. Oh, whatever.
So true.
It's like, I do the announcements to say we're closing. What do you want?
I used to do that at Chuck E. Cheese, because I used to work at Chuck E. Cheese. So I would do all the characters
That's the worst job
doing
ever.
the closing announcements, which is
so cursed.
Wow.
That was my first job, and I think the reason that I don't have kids. I was working at Chuck E. Cheese at 16. You're scarred for life.
It's like, no, never doing that to myself.
Like, nope.
The big
I'm good.
pizza petri dish.
Ew.
Well, and
I
that
just
was
recently-
parents could drop their kids off. And
Come on, we all saw that ball pit.
Kinda still is, though.
I used to have to clean that ball pit.
yeah, I cleaned that ball pit as well.
In
Did
fact,
you
I'll
just
share
use
with
a
you this. There was-
blowtorch?
Yeah, basically.
Gasoline.
Basically. So I'll share a little story with you. So I used to be in the costume when I worked there. I worked the game room, and then I was in the costume. So I would work, with the kids and everything. And there was one day I just got really overexcited and a little zealous with the character, and I'm marching around, and I've got a line of kids behind me, and I decide, let's jump in the ball bin. So I'm as the character in the ball bin playing with the kids. Then I decided to go up into the sky crawl, which is that colorful tube that lines the ceiling. And so I'm getting those big ears around this like spiral staircase to get into the tube. And when I get in, I very quickly realized that I got stuck. And it was getting hot very quickly in this already hot and unclean suit that I was wearing. So all those flavors are just percolating in my and around me. So the kids are pushing me, and I have this flash in my eyes like, this is how I'm going to go. I'm going to win the Darwin Awards. And so the kids are pushing me, and I just turn around and I go, all right, kids, let's step back. Chucky's stuck. And instead of actually stepping back to save my life, the kids just went, Chucky's stuck. I'm going to die. my manager came bounding over, and he's like grabbing kids and taking them out, and he brought a paper bag for me to put my head over, and I got a talking to after that, obviously, and I had to go retrieve the head. And when I went to retrieve the head, there's one kid who's like, ah! 'Cause you can see Chucky's face like in the porthole. And I didn't get fired.
That kid grew up
day,
to be
but
Scott Cawthon.
That's my Chuck E. Cheese story. One of many.
And that's how Five Nights at Freddy's was born.
Yeah, there you go.
Just one terrified child.
It only takes one.
Amazing.
So I have a question for Erin. So as someone who came into this through friends, and you already had a love for the types of characters that you might be going into, what was your process preparing for some of the roles that Dennis has asked you to do?
So a lot of it, I've just been like, especially I was really nervous about young Kathy because I didn't know until we recorded that I don't sob like okay for a small child for being not a small child anymore. But I practiced a lot in my shower.
Oh wow.
Because the acoustics in your shower are great for singing, so why aren't they good for voice acting?
Yeah, good point.
Ooh.
And the steam helps you too.
So,
So
right, so I've just been practicing just like random stuff in my shower just to see, because I don't know what my range is yet. So I'm still learning like how to figure all of that out, and like, okay, I know I can do really young, but can I do really old? Because Dennis wants to know, you know, how old am I? And I'm like, I don't know. We'll figure it out somewhere where, you know. Until then, it's just really goofing off in the shower.
I want to ask the panel.
Shower beers help.
Shower beer?
Don't do arts and crafts in the shower. It's very messy.
Yes, shower beer. It's a thing.
Yes, shower beer.
That's
You don't keep beer in your shower?
In the shower, it always disappears.
Oh, come on. They sell wine glass holders for your shower, so.
You take
Wow.
a
You get
can
ledge in
so
your
that it's
shower.
not glass. And yes, you.
I live
It was something I
dangerously
picked
with
up when I was still bartending.
I'm
After a
bring
long,
your
curious.
like,
job home.
So I'm curious
Yeah,
for
after a
everyone.
long shift,
Oh.
you just like want to sit in the shower and just like lean and just like, oh god, that was terrible.
In the shower.
So
wonder if
I know
Ryan's
that.
going to say anything.
Yes, I was gonna. That was not-
Eventually.
So I wanted to know, because I know many of you have, ranges and characters that are within you. Is there a character that you've always wanted to portray, but you just haven't gotten the role to portray it yet, or you just haven't got the script that gives you the ability to play? So, for example, like if you want to always play an older lady or a homicidal maniac, is there a particular character you've always wanted to play?
Villains. I keep getting hero characters, and strong hero characters. Thank you, Dennis. But God, I would love to be terrible. So I did end up recording a snippet on my reel. So hopefully I might inspire somebody to be like, hey, she can do villains, not just heroes.
Yeah, 100%.
gosh.
I want to do villains.
It's kind of piggybacking off of the whole villain thing. So I've mentioned I basically all of my practice for voice acting is playing D&D. So as the forever DM, I'm coming up with various different villains. So that's kind of my major experience, is just playing villains. So to be like, listen, kid, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. But I really just want to play a joke character so bad. Just someone who's like, well, hey there, kids. I just really enjoy everything that we're doing right now. Can someone please just kill me? Yeah, joke characters. Really want to play a joke character.
I so want to kill you after you said that.
My wife's
Tell me
not in the
about it,
house
please.
right now, or I would have been stabbed at this exact moment.
Oh my God.
My wife
I
hates that voice so much.
So you do that a lot. So you already are the character.
Yes.
Maybe it's not a
yeah.
dream
I'll be
character
folding
anymore.
laundry. It's just like, all right, so the whites are gonna go over here, and just off in the other room. Please stop.
You're gonna have to
The
put that
baby's
on your
trying to
podcast.
sleep. Absolutely.
Then it will have a home there.
Oh yes.
Mhm.
I
Oh,
think
no.
great
Yeah,
Yeah,
challenge.
Veronica and
for
Daniel.
good.
What are yours?
Mhm.
Oh,
Veronica and
I
Daniel,
play-
yours.
I like to stretch to
let's-
play characters that are very different than myself. You too, Daniel?
Yeah,
I mean, Donald
I'm
Duck
the
is
same
not
way.
you.
I love the sensation of being a chameleon and
Mm.
having people say, "Wait, that was you? I can't believe
Yeah.
that was you." Whether it's on camera or behind the microphone, I get such a kick out of that when someone is, I can't believe that was you. That's really special. I think for me, the characters that I want to voice, I have a checklist basically of everything I watched during Saturday morning cartoons. So if I watched it as a kid, I want to be in it as an adult.
Mm.
And I've been able to check a few of those off. Obviously, the Disney characters, Tom and Jerry, and now recently the Scooby-Doo universe as Uncle Shagworthy. So those are the things that I would love, or like a Looney Tunes character, but nothing that everybody knows, like a random character from like 50 or 60 years ago that they bring back. I want to do that. That's what I want. So that's me.
Yeah, for nice to pay homage to what was before. That is a great idea, actually, because it sculpted all of us into what we are today, and then you would help sculpt the future, as it were.
I like
yeah.
to say that cartoon characters are venerated echoes of our past and
Mm.
custodians of our childhood. So as we progress through life and things are constantly changing, they are the one thing that stays constant because they never change. They are always there. And, in my case with like Donald Duck, for example, the character's 89 years old. He's been here long before me. He'll be here long after I'm gone. But to step into something like that, the pressure is on because you want to get it right, not just for the people who are listening right now, but for your own inner child. You want it to resonate with them. You want to feel good about it. And that's a whole process. That is a whole process.
I have
But
to
I love
say
cartoons.
too,
I love voice acting.
and part of it is connecting to your heart. Like you have to really, really step into whether it's
No,
a
I don't
new
have one of
character-
those. Just
Well,
meat
if you
and muscle.
It's just not in a jar somewhere hanging out.
I'm full of foie
Could be.
gras.
Yeah.
Maybe Mike can summon it in a D&D session.
Oh my God, that's where it is.
Point.
I summon foie gras. Oops, sorry, different duck.
You see. Oh, I want to hear from Tara.
Oh, I don't know. I feel like I'm just sort of scratching the surface so far. So there's a lot. Like I definitely I love villains. I mean, from when I was a kid, I didn't get all of the Disney characters poster. I had the villains poster. So yeah, definitely villains. And then I love doing, accents, different accents, and finding the random characters within playing with that. And
What's your favorite accent?
oh my God, I do a quite good British one. I also love speaking an Australian accent. That's very fun for me.
Hard.
That's a fun
It's
one.
usually hard. Yeah.
God, if I could, be an Outlander, I'd love it. I really, really would. Yeah. So I don't know. I love pretty much
Keep going. Do
all of
more.
the UK. Well, actually, it's really funny. On Friday, I have a play reading where I get to be Irish for a little bit, so that'll be fun. So yeah,
That's great.
I will be magically delicious. You have no idea.
Going to Ireland, like I fear they're going to come at me with like knives and pitchforks. And torches.
Only if you tell them. No.
We'll show you our lucky charms.
Yeah, and actually, it's funny, Erin, hearing you talk about how you're looking to find your old lady voice. Those are some of the most fun voices to do, and just dance around like you're a little old kooky lady. It's really fun.
I don't know where I live.
Well, yes, and then you can just go on and be Grandpa and tell the kids a little bedtime story with a $5 bill under the pillow.
$5? What have you done? Won the lottery?
Well, you know, they're my favorite grandchildren.
Well, you could go down to the boardwalk and still have money left for a flick or one of those talkies they're doing now these days.
Grandpa's not been down to the boardwalk in a long time, turns out. That's just
Where
a bottle of water.
Who are you? Every old person I play is just senile. That's not a very good.
I know.
Representation matters.
I should probably just branch out a little.
Trash pandas.
That darn fangled little thing.
Oh gosh, don't get me into my southern. I live in rural Louisiana, about an hour outside of New Orleans. So,
you live down in Louisiana, eh?
I'm by the bayou, yeah, there.
Oh, you by the bayou. That's awesome.
Yep. I still don't know what up the bayou and down the bayou means, though. Nobody will tell me.
Just
Nobody will explain what it
flags
means.
you as not local.
There's like, hey, you live down the bayou? I'm like, I don't know.
Maybe.
Yes.
I don't know. Welcome to Lowe's. How can I help you?
So I wanted to throw this question out to everybody. So how has work been different since the pandemic for voice actors?
I've gotten some.
flooded. It's flooded as in there's a lot of actors now going into the booth, and so that's a lot more competition.
Like your booth
so-
in particular?
Mine, yes,
Ugh.
very crowded. I
Tight
off in that
squeeze.
direction. It's I shoved them all back so that I could take the space for a little bit. But no, it's like everybody figured, well, I still need to work, and this is a safe way to work, you know. So
True story.
yeah.
I guess the only thing that's really dynamically changed, I mean, in the moment, that was a scary moment, I think, for everybody. But having, home recording equipment, a lot of people were just able to do some minor upgrades, some software upgrades, some hardware upgrades, and get themselves broadcast, able to be able to work. But like you mentioned, we had a huge influx of on-camera actors, comedians, just flooding the market because they're like, hey, voiceover is easy. And so I think that the major thing that has changed is the ability for people to get an education about voiceover and acting in general. Improv. You can find classes online for improv, for scene studies, for voice acting, all of those things. And you have access to the people who were formerly very difficult to get in person. They're now all transitioning to online education. So I think post-pandemic, it has become easier to learn and to practice your craft than ever before and from anywhere in any time zone. You just have to show up when you need to show up. And I think that's really unique to the world that we live in compared to where it was before. I had to move here to Los Angeles to take workshops with the other big actors, casting directors, and now you can just do it online.
Yeah.
But I did
So
miss
true.
people. I missed
Yeah,
people. I missed going to the studio and just, passing by someone and, say, hey, how's your day going? What's going on, man? I miss those interactions so much. And there is a difference, a palpable difference when you're in the booth by yourself, self-directing, doing all your audio, all your technical stuff. There is a difference between that and just showing up and being creative. And I like to just show up and be creative. I'm not a technical guy.
Yeah, I hear that. That's why I've not done audiobooks. I'm like, that's a lot of editing that I don't understand.
Plus books, and who needs those?
Oh, God.
There isn't books anymore.
Yeah, I
I
found
say
a
as if
lot-
my booth isn't built behind a bunch of bookshelves.
that sounds like a secret passageway.
I have
Yeah.
a secret door.
It's Narnia.
Hmm.
You can't see
Wow.
can't see it from outside.
Secret tunnel.
Secret
tunnel.
Through the mountain.
I think it's really hard not working with other people. I've been in LA and New York, and still I'm rarely in a studio. So everything is still from home. That's been, like you were saying, Daniel, it's hard when you don't get to see anybody. And so a lot of times you're totally alone, or you might have a director and engineer on the other end, or, it all depends. But it's a bigger workload for sure.
I will say this: it is so much easier to not have to wear pants.
I'm
Like,
not
I
wearing any right now. Come on.
None of us need
No
to
one here
disclose
has
that
pants
information.
on.
We don't need
Don't
to.
lie. None of you have them on.
It's true.
My camera angle is a little too
It's-
low,
it-
so I had to
it's
put
too
pants
hot
on.
in here to
sadly.
wear.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Mike.
It's
glad-
tragic, really.
I would say that too. I don't have air conditioning in LA, and it's so hot.
Mhm.
So that's a really big problem. I miss studios and air conditioning.
I have a
And a
teeny
water
tiny little
bubbler.
fan on my desk.
Oh, they're so cute.
It's so small.
It's so tiny.
So if you were to give advice to people who were aspiring to get into this industry, what's a single piece of advice you would give them?
My acting coach said if there's anything you can do and that you want to do more than acting, do that, because it takes such a full commitment. And I like to say the highs are high, but there's many lows, and they are pretty low. So you just have to really decide if it's what you want to focus on, and then train, get your training. You wouldn't be a brain surgeon without taking classes. So I think you still need to take acting classes and to really, work on your craft, figure out how to develop full characters.
And acting classes are like mental health medication. Just because you got a role doesn't mean you stop taking them.
Mhm.
You just have to
Right.
keep doing it.
Right.
You don't know everything. You never will. And that's okay.
Yeah, good point.
I would
And that's
say
great.
fill the time in between gigs with things that give you dopamine. If it's also something that also enhances your craft, that's even better and connects you with other people even better. But you are going to have a lot of time sometimes between gigs, and you need something that you can pat yourself on the back, because otherwise you're just going to go, oh,
Yeah.
I'm not working, nothing's happening.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm a host and reader for a lot of like casting director workshops and agent workshops and stuff. And anytime, like, I get the actors for a couple minutes before the guest comes in, and every time I'm like, guys, you showed up. You showed up. You're going to do your scene, whether you nail it or not. It doesn't matter. When you leave, go buy yourself a candy bar. Go pat yourself on the back. Reward yourself with something because you showed up, and that's so much bigger. You sent in the audition. You showed up. You memorized the scene. Like, you're already on the plus side. Like,
Yeah.
you have to reward yourself.
Yeah, showing up is the biggest part, because who are you showing up for? You're showing up for yourself, because this is what you want. This is your passion. This is what you desire. So if you don't show up for yourself, who are you going to show up for? So I think my piece of advice for aspiring voice actors is have a really good support system in place. Like was mentioned momentarily ago, this is a very volatile industry. It is rife with rejection. There is, undiscovered obstacles that you'll run into. Everybody's journey is different. So have a good support system, have somebody you can talk to, see a therapist if you can and have the means. But have somebody you can talk to on the regular, do things that are good for you, take care of your health, your mind, your body, and take care of the environment that you live in. It's very easy for us to say, let's jump into something. But if you don't take an account of where you are, you may find things distracting you and preventing you from achieving your goals. And I often say that fear is the antithesis of creativity. If you're afraid in the back of your mind, like my bills are piling up, my girlfriend's mad at me, whatever's going on in your life, you bring that into the booth with you.
Yeah.
So you must do the work. You have to do the legwork to make your world and your environment exactly how you need it to be to survive. That's my input.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And then coach with me.
Them classes in between.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would like to hear from Mike and Erin.
Do you though?
I
Do you
didn't do
really?
Do you? Do you really?
I like to
don't know
spread the
if
love around.
I don't know because I feel like I'm the kind of person that would be seeking this advice. I don't know if there's something that I
I'm, like,
can really
taking notes over
contribute
here.
necessary. I am taking notes, but I don't know. I feel like the biggest thing that I've learned is not time management per se, but project management. Before we started recording, someone mentioned just having a lot of irons in the fire, and
I don't know
I've
who
got
you're talking about.
yeah, no idea who that could be. I do the voice acting. I have a full-time job. I have a 10-month-old that I need to take care of.
Oh wow.
I run D&D professionally on Saturdays for a paid game. I also have like 2 home games that I do prep for.
Wow.
I do art. I do like videography, and I do too many things.
I feel you.
And I think the hardest thing that has been just that I've learned is if there's something that you need to focus on, something that you want to focus on, voice acting being the thing, those things will have to go on the back burner, and you have to be okay with that. Because you can't do everything at once. Otherwise you will burn out and be on anxiety meds for the rest of your life.
You can be on anxiety meds for the rest of your life without burning out. You don't have to multitask.
I'm going to be either way. So
You know what I use? I take ashwagandha. Ashwagandha. It's really good for mental health.
awesome. No, I'm on Prozac and liquor. So
Whoa!
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Not necessarily in that order.
that took a turn.
And
Sorry,
oral,
everyone.
These are oral supplements, yes?
Sure.
Okay. All right. I don't know about the efficacy of suppositories in this field. I'm not a doctor. I'm a voice actor, damn it.
Got to take care of your vocal cords. So I mean, there's got to be other ways to.
That's right.
That's true.
I don't like where this is going.
For me, just trying to start out. I also have a full-time job. I do IT, but just trying to pick up more of this. I would say that one of the things I've really been working on is being okay with being told no.
Yeah.
Like huge.
No, you did this part. All right, cool. There's another one out there for me. Not a big deal. Because if I can just convince myself that it's not the end of the world, because it's not, there's always going to be another opportunity coming along, then I'm not going to just want to wallow in liquor and beer.
Shower beer.
Sour beer.
Take that shower beer. Cry yourself to
The
sleep.
show's not sponsored by Prozac, by the way,
No,
Or shower
by
beer.
or shower beer. Maybe by shower beer.
But the suppositories, we are sponsored.
There it is.
Absolutely.
So as long as I can make sure that I'm I want to put my whole heart into it, but I don't want to break my heart as well.
Mhm.
So that's something that I'm really trying to remind myself, hey, if you don't get a part, that's okay.
It's not
think it's 'cause
no,
there's
it's
more
not
parts
right
out
now.
Right.
Mhm.
And
Right, not
a
this
good way
one.
to a good way to think about it is that your job is auditioning. So you just you mark it all out, you do your best on that, and then you just let it go. You can't hang on to people always say, "Oh, what job did you not get that you really wanted?" or whatever. And you could easily answer every single thing I've ever auditioned for because you want every part. But you
Right?
just
Why
have
would
to
you
do
audition
your
if you
best.
don't want to get the part?
That's right. But then you have to let it go. You can't
Yep.
keep thinking about it or the one that got away type thing. There's so many factors that we all don't know that come into play about who gets cast and who doesn't.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. If they don't cast me, I'm the one who got away, not them.
Hey,
Ooh,
I
that's
like
good.
that.
Or at the same time, like a casting director said once, it's one of the best advice I ever got. Win the room, not the role. And I mean, that's kind of why I'm even here,
Right.
is because auditioning for Dennis forever ago.
Right.
And then they remembered me and were like, oh my God, they're still acting. Yes. Bring her in.
Yeah.
Be rememberable.
And then also with any audition, whether you're, just submitting for it or you get called to actually record it, make sure that you look up their previous work. Like, what do they normally do? Or if it's an ongoing show, what is the tone? Like, what are the characters like? Because you don't want to go into, a very serious video game being like, hi guys, I'm super excited to be here. I'm going to kick some ass. And it's like, well, no. Those are different. So yeah. And knowing, actually, especially with voiceover, I think knowing the humor that goes along with each category of voiceover is extremely important. Where, like, your commercials can have your Ryan Dry or, whatever. That's the kind of humor there. But then, video games are pretty like real life serious, whereas anime is much more like humor at the expense of others. And then, your animation is much more uplifting humor. It's not at the detriment to something else. So it's very important to know the difference there.
Right. Different style.
Yeah, and the same could be said about auditioning for any of the various studios. Cartoon Network compared to Disney Junior, compared to Nickelodeon. They all sound differently. So you should know generally when you're auditioning what it should kind of sound like or where you should kind of be. I was just going to add to the other point. In the words of the bard himself, William Shakespeare, to thine own self be true. You have to follow your dreams. You have to take a shot at what you're passionate about, because YOLO, you only live once. You only have one shot at being happy. You might as well try it. If you don't like it, you don't like it, but at least you tried it. And here's the other thing. Don't be afraid to let your dreams change. You may discover, hey, I'm really passionate about this, but then you find a different tangent that you go on. And it's like, for me, that was voiceover. I thought it was on camera, film and TV. That was the thing that I really loved. And here I found voiceover and my whole life has changed. So don't be afraid to let your dreams change. And then lastly, again, to what you were saying about rejection, the worst anybody can ever say to you is no. That's the worst anybody can say to you. Sticks and stones, other stuff. But in terms of the business and rejection, the worst thing anybody can say is no. So you might as well take your shot. My motto is it's the squeaky wheel that gets the grease.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like,
we're all voice actors. We gotta fill in the blanks.
The Foley in there.
You gotta be squeaky wheels, because sometimes that's what they pay you for. Right. So thank you for joining us here at the Unbrandable Media, the Voice Actors Roundtable. I want to go around the panel and please tell us again your name and where they can find you on the internet, your social media, and plug whatever projects that you would like our audience to know. I'm going to start off with Mike Mathewson.
Fuck. Don't have anything up. Okay. Once again, my name is Mike Mathewson. I can be found on the Twitterverse at The Real Kinesis, because I used to think I was going to be a YouTuber. We're not going to get into that. You can also find my D&D podcast. We have several different mini-series and one long-running series. It's called Dicey Decisions. You can find it Spotify, Apple Podcasts, literally anywhere. Maybe Pandora, I think, if that's still a thing. I'm only really on Twitter. Yeah, that's it.
All right. Next, we go to Tara Haight.
All right. Yes, Tara Haight. Thanks for listening in. Let's see. My socials, Twitter and Instagram are both the Tara Haight, or the if you pronounce it that way, but one E. And yeah, I'm on Facebook. It's my name, whatever. Because it's Facebook. Anyway, back to what we're supposed to be talking about. Let's see. Up next, you can hear me in Living Fears season 2. Eventually, when that comes out. And then with Visionaries, Visionaries season 1 is on Spotify and iTunes. And I'm probably missing one, but they're Lexi and Fariz. But coming up in season 2, exciting news! I'll be actually taking over the role of Athenia, Queen. So that's super exciting. And anywhere you can hear Veronica, I'll be Mary Beth and your beautiful, nosy neighbor, Mrs. White.
All right. Next, Mackenzie Jameson.
Yeah, you can pretty much find me on the socials under Hey Mackenzie, or yeah, it is Hey Mackenzie J, because sometimes I go by Kenzie. But I was like, no, it is Mackenzie J, and it's a JAMIESON, not like the Scotch, but and also I do tube the use. I'm a YouTuber. It's how I do things in between gigs. I like to make a lot of things, like costumes and sometimes short films, and that's where I put them. Or I really like teaching people how to make things cheaper, especially for LARP. Next thingies coming up are with Living Fears. That will be the next season.
Yes.
I guess I should have said I was also in that. I am also in that. But no other roles. Please give me money. Tentacle.
Yes, please give Mike money for his tentacles. All right.
Please.
Erin, where can people find you on the internet, and what are you up to next?
My name is Erin McGavic, and I'm most active on Instagram, so that'd be the best place to catch me. Irish Water Fairy, Fairy. If you like pictures of cats and knitting, then yeah, that's probably your jam. And as far as upcoming work, just keep listening to Veronica and keep listening to everything Unbrandable Media, because I'm sure at some point I will have more stuff there. But keep the stuff alive, man.
All right. Next, Veronica.
I'm Veronica Taylor. I on Instagram and Twitter, I am the Veronica T, and Facebook, the Veronica Taylor. So I am working on. I have a bunch of audiobooks that are kind of just coming out. You can find a lot of the reviews on Audiophile magazine, which I think is a great resource if you like to listen to audiobooks. I'm working on a bunch of things, and I mostly talk about that on social media. So some anime, some video games, some other cartoon stuff. And I guess that's it. I'm very bad at listing things.
But that's why they can always go to your social media to learn more.
Yeah, I think that's the best. I'm working on some projects with my daughter, so we're putting out some really fun stuff, and just trying to
exciting.
Keep things going. Yeah, it's all, all of us are super creative. This has been amazing to be on this panel with you all. It's quite inspirational, and we're all just trying to be creative, tell the stories, and just work, because that's the best thing of all. So anyway, off you go, Daniel.
Wait, I get to talk about me? Finally! Let's see here. I am across social media as actor Daniel Ross. I've made it on the nose. There's a football player, Daniel Ross. There's a salon named Daniel Ross. I'm actor Daniel Ross. Find me across social media. Instagram, TikTok, I'm the most active. Let's see here. I mentioned before, I do offer voiceover coaching through my website. actordanielross.com. Haha, see what I did there? And what do we have coming out? Oh my gosh. Well, Multiverses is the biggest thing that was just released, I believe, like yesterday for the first time. I play Uncle Shagworthy from Scooby-Doo, so you can fight as Uncle Shagworthy, which is a lot of fun. What else? Work on Mickey Mouse Funhouse. I don't play Donald Duck, but I play a bunch of other fun characters. And let's see, we did a Super Bowl commercial for the last Super Bowl. I played Grimace's Thoughts for a McDonald's commercial, which was a lot of fun. And I'm working on this thing called Veronica, where I play Jules and Jacoby. And that's been a lot of fun. I don't know if any of you have heard about it.
No, it sounds cool though.
Tell us more.
Sounds cool.
Just check it out. Just check it out. Just fast forward through all this stuff and just look for Jules and Jacoby, and you'll be fine. You'll be right as rain. But that's me, Daniel Ross, professional voice actor and class clown.
I never would have guessed.
And I am your host, Ryan Omega. You could find me on Twitter under Ryan OMGA. I have a Twitch channel, Life Action Roleplay, and things that are coming up. So I am going to be doing a live read of an early draft of the famous movie Clue, where we're going to be doing that with the unfilmed fourth ending that a lot of people don't know about.
What?
That sounds so cool.
There's
I didn't know.
another ending.
So that will be on the Twitch channel Life Action Roleplay. On a different Twitch channel, Scabby Rooster, I will be running my special The Islands of Sina Una, which is a Dungeons and Dragons 5e edition using Philippine mythology. And I am going to be using Filipino food as an actual mechanic. So I'm still casting for that.
Filipino food.
Wow.
Yes. And I will be cooking. I'll be cooking half of those dishes. So
Are you making the lumpia?
Lumpia is my specialty. So I will be making the lumpia. And then
Okay.
I'll be making a few other dishes. And coming out soon is Vampire the Masquerade Port Saga Season 2. That is going to be coming out very soon. I'm so happy that Season 1 got nominated for several awards.
Wow.
And
Congratulations.
I will be Thank you. And I will be reprising my role as Malkavian Primogen Ezra Knox, or as people call him, Vampire Daddy. Because everybody
I was gonna
wants
say
him
the other
to
was
be
a mouthful,
Daddy.
but
Huh?
now he's vampire. Yeah, the other name was a mouthful.
Yes.
So Vampire Daddy. Yeah.
Daddy
Vampire
works better.
Daddy.
Sums it right up.
Yes, they people want him to be their dad, and I'm like, that is accurate because he's the nicest vampire, but also plays politics.
Vampire
So-
Daddy wants to give you an O positive. And no one
Dang,
wants to
okay.
take the O positive.
No, he wants to take the positive.
I give up. I quit.
It's a
That's
recording.
all
You
right.
cannot
My
take it back.
mind went somewhere else with Vampire Daddy.
Yeah, I was thinking
so.
about a different kind of daddy, but
Yeah.
all right,
Yeah,
that works too.
but
It got weird.
But that's okay. It got weird, but that's why we're going
There
to
are
end
different
today's
kinds?
session. We're going to end today's session of our Unbrandable Media Voice Actor Roundtable. Thank you so much for attending, and tune in to all the things that Unbrandable Media is coming out with, including Veronica, The Living Fears, and all of their projects. Thank you so much, and good night,
Awesome.
everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Nice.
Bye, bye.